All right, it is 2:30, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome back. If you've been in any of our sessions earlier today, we made it. It's the last session of today. And I just wanted to say, if this is the fourth time that you're hearing me say my entire spiel, please feel free to tune me out. I'm going to say the same thing. But my name is Fran Varga. I'm a prevention coordinator at Prevention Action Alliance. On behalf of our entire team, thank you so much for joining us for Coalitions Rising 2024. If you don't know us, Prevention Action Alliance is a nonprofit based in Columbus, Ohio, working to prevent substance misuse and promote mental health wellness. We provide all Ohioans with opportunities for prevention education, resources, and advocacy with the goal of empowering communities. We're really excited to bring together such a great group of prevention professionals and community leaders for this event. Coalitions Rising is an event that is designed to empower coalitions and community-based organizations with strategies to drive community change. Today, we're exploring best practices for strengthening partnerships across sectors, enhancing community resilience, and addressing the complex needs of special populations. I'd like to take a moment today to thank the sponsors who made today's event possible. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors of Coalitions Rising, including our innovator sponsors, Origo Branding, and Paxis Institute. Their generosity allows us to continue to bring national subject matter experts to speak on the topics most important to coalitions at no cost to our attendees. We're truly very grateful for their support. Before we begin, I have a few quick housekeeping items. If you have any technical difficulties throughout the session, please send a message in the chat to Ashley Donaldson or to, I believe it's the hosts and panelists chat. You can send a message to us and we will do our best to assist you. You are encouraged to use the Q&A and chat features for any questions during the session. We will also have a dedicated time for Q&A at the end of the session. This session is in Zoom webinar, so your camera and microphone will be automatically off. If you would like to ask a question live, please raise your hand and we will be able to unmute you to speak. Each session will be recorded and will be made available to attendees afterward, and availability of slides are at the discretion of each speaker. This session offers social work, CHES, and prevention continuing education credits. To receive continuing education credits, attendees must complete the evaluation that will be provided at the end of the session. Contact hours presented on your certificate will directly reflect your time spent in the webinar. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for this session, Chrissy Myers. Chrissy is the author of Reluctantly Resilient and the CEO of AUI and ClarityHR, which serves small and medium-sized businesses in both for-profit and nonprofit sectors in the areas of human resources and employee benefits. Today, she will be presenting the session Engaging Business Leaders in Prevention, where she'll be discussing strategies for engaging effectively with the business community. So with that, I will hand it over to Chrissy to kick things off. Thank you so much for being here, and we hope you enjoy the session.
Thank you, Fran, for your time today. I'm going to work on sharing my screen. I think the hardest thing that I have to do, the most stressful part, is kind of sharing my slides. So we're going to get that done. Hopefully everyone can see those now.
Yes, we can see them.
Perfect. All right, so this is, I would say, a casual conversation, but if you have questions, feel free to raise your hand during the presentation. You can save them for after the presentation if you would prefer. I'm used to being interrupted in the HR space. I get asked a lot of questions all the time in the middle of a thought, so it's not a problem. I would prefer that we kind of keep things moving. I want to make sure that you're engaged and you're getting the information that you need. So today we're going to talk about engaging business leaders in prevention. And as Fran said, I'm Chrissy Myers. I'm CEO of AUI and ClarityHR in Northeast Ohio. I am currently in Florida right now, so I'm super excited. I'm not in the snow. I'm also the author of Reluctantly Resilient, a book born out of the trials and triumphs that kind of shaped me into the leader that I am today. So my journey to this point hasn't been straightforward. And like many of you, I faced challenges that tested me deeply, from navigating personal tragedy to steering a family business through turbulent times. So I came to the prevention space in a different manner. In 2013, my world was turned upside down twice in the span of a month. So I like to equate it to being hit by two different tsunamis within 30 days of each other. So the first tsunami, I lost my husband, my first love, my high school sweetheart, the father of our two children, to suicide. I went from wife to widow in the blink of an eye. And suddenly I was a single mother with two small children grappling with grief and uncertainty. And then less than 30 days later, our fourth generation family business faced a financial crisis due to some legislation that had occurred in the insurance market that threatened its survival. So, in addition to those two tsunamis, I'm also the daughter of someone in recovery. And so, these moments, while for many people they may have been challenging, trying, and made them not want to keep moving, they were my crucible. They taught me the profound power of resilience. And in time, they showed me the impact that prevention can really have in changing the landscape in our communities. So we know that every leader has a story, and it's often through their struggles that they come to understand value. And for me, some of this has come in understanding the value of prevention and what that means not only for families, but also for the greater community. So today, we're going to focus on how you can engage business leaders to create partnerships that are not just impactful, but also sustainable. So let's harness the superpowers that both businesses and prevention have together. And together we can build stronger, healthier, and resilient communities that thrive in collaboration and shared purpose. All right, so let's talk a little bit about those objectives. So here are my goals for our time together as you're getting your CEUs. By the end of the session, you're going to walk away with a couple of different things. The first is an understanding of the business perspective on prevention. So how to get business leaders' attention into this space. The second is going to be some practical engagement strategies to build partnerships that resonate with business leaders. And I'm going to be very honest with you, they're a lot simpler than you probably think they are. We sometimes tend to overcomplicate things, and really, it can be a very simple task. And the third thing is a call to action on how to foster collaboration and sustainability. I think of the prevention community and the business community as two different pieces of a puzzle. So when we connect them, they form a part of a picture, which is a thriving community. So this partnership isn't just possible, it's absolutely necessary. And I've learned through my own journey that bridging the gaps requires often shifting our approach. So let's think about that. Business leaders often think in terms of ROI. We are driven on data and outcomes. So what's the ROI? ROI stands for return on investment. What's the ROI? Prevention professionals, by contrast, are often driven by passion and purpose. So the challenge is to marry or combine the ROI mindset and the purpose and passion mindset together. And today, I'm going to share some practical tools and examples to make this happen. Prevention is not just a public health imperative. I think we also need to look at it, especially in the business community, as an opportunity. So let's talk about the business case for prevention. Oftentimes, business leaders are fluent in the language of ROI, efficiency, and scalability. So to bring them to the prevention table, it helps if we speak their language. For example, according to the National Safety Council, and I'm sure a lot of you already know these statistics, but for those of us in the prevention community or in the business community, they can be new and exciting. Employers can save $8,500 annually for every employee who recovers from a substance use disorder. SAMHSA reports that untreated SUDs cost businesses $7,000 per employee in lost productivity and healthcare expenses annually. Oftentimes, just as in government, dollars speak volumes to business owners, and it's an emotional mover. If we can understand and bridge the gap between what is happening in our organization with the potential dollars that are lost, you will often get our attention in the prevention community. So these statistics demonstrate that prevention efforts don't just save lives, they also save money. Now, in my book, Reluctantly Resilient, I share how reframing wellness initiatives for employees as cost-saving strategies has led to greater buy-in from different leaders around my community who are initially skeptical about the power of building resilience practices. So beyond financial metrics, healthier teams also create healthier workplaces. So let's think about this. Another dollar figure. 500 million work days are lost annually due to substance misuse, which costs employers $81 billion. That's a significant amount. So companies that implement drug-free workplace programs report a 16% reduction in absenteeism, a 33% increase in productivity, and a 50% decrease in workplace accidents. And that's significant. If you talk in terms of percentages, dollars, lost hours, improved hours, you get business leaders' attention. So when businesses invest in their people, They see improvements not only in the bottom line, but also in employee engagement. So many assume that prevention is complex or expensive, but you all in the prevention community know the truth. That in reality, small focused efforts such as training supervisors to recognize signs and providing access to safe medication disposal can make an immediate impact and can make a significant difference in the lives of different employer groups. So this is where prevention professionals can shine, because what you do is you simplify the process of showing businesses that even in the modest actions that we take, they can lead to really significant and big outcomes. So when we tie how it makes the business more efficient, as well as enriches the lives of team members, small business leaders will run to your table. So let's talk a little bit about my movement into the prevention world. I'd like to give you a case study for the Deterra project, because I think that the Deterra project, which was a project I was involved in the mid 2000 teens, is a powerful example of how collaboration can drive meaningful prevention efforts. It's a story that combines community partnerships, innovative solutions, and a willingness to tackle problems at their root cause. So in 2016, Summit County Community Partnership launched the Deterra project to address the growing challenge of medication misuse. So in Summit County, we were dealing with the opiate epidemic, similar to what everyone was dealing with in their communities. The program distributed 40,000 drug deactivation pouches, each capable of deactivating up to 50 pills, safely rendering them inert and suitable for landfill disposal. So it made safe drug disposal attainable, sustainable, and easy for community members to utilize. So if fully utilized, these pouches would remove 1.3 million pills from potential misuse in our community. And this was just the beginning of an ongoing project that Summit County Community Partnership has continued to work through. But I was part of the beginnings of the project. So the beauty of the pouches were their simplicity. And I'm sure that some of you have dealt with these pouches in your experience as well. They were designed to empower individuals, especially those who may not have had access to secure drug disposal boxes, to safely dispose of unused medications in the privacy of their homes. So with a few easy steps, the risk of these medications falling into the wrong hands could be eliminated. So let's talk about some of the takeaways. The success of the Deterra project was really rooted in partnership. So Summit County Community Partnership didn't accomplish it alone. It was the result of a coalition of businesses, public health organizations, and community leaders. So local businesses like Acme Fresh Markets, one of our local grocers in our community, their pharmacy stepped up distributing the pouches through their neighborhood locations, while public health organizations and other nonprofits extended the program's reach. And small businesses also joined in line to become partners, distribution partners for Summit County Community Partnership in getting those drug disposal bags out to the community. So this effort demonstrated the immense power of collaboration. Prevention professionals brought expertise and vision, and businesses brought resources, networks, and the ability to scale. Prevention created the map, and business leaders helped connect those dots. And together, they created a program that was simple, impactful, and sustainable. But the story also highlights the importance of something else. And what I would say it is that simple thing of how to get business leaders engaged is the courage to ask. And I'd like to share how I became involved directly in the prevention work, thanks to someone who wasn't afraid to reach out and ask for help. So when Alice Jennings first approached me, she worked at Summit County Community Partnership at the time, I didn't see myself as someone who could make a difference in the prevention community. At the time, I was fully immersed in leading my business, navigating it through some challenges that came with it. But Alice saw something in me, a connection to the work that I just hadn't realized. She asked me to lend my voice and my perspective as a business leader to prevention efforts. And at first, I hesitated, unsure of how I could contribute. But her belief in the value of business community partnerships planted a seed. That conversation changed the trajectory of my involvement. And in part, our brainstorming together resulted in the mapping of key partnerships and distribution channels, making connections that she did not have, but I had in the business community to help community partnership continue to reach out and build their efforts. You see, business leaders have relationships that often nonprofits do not. So asking them to leverage them and asking business leaders for their ideas is another way to amplify your impact in the area of prevention. So the Deterra project in many ways mirrors that moment. It took individuals and organizations willing to ask others, whether it was a pharmacy, a nonprofit, or a local business, to come together and collaborate. So Alice's courage to ask taught me a critical lesson that often prevention professionals already have the expertise and vision to create impactful programs. What they need are partners who are willing to walk alongside them. So asking isn't just about inviting someone to join the effort, it's also about showing them how they fit into the larger picture. Because oftentimes, as business leaders, we're in our business every day, we're working in a very narrow phase. But if you can help us widen our focus to see the bigger picture, we would love to collaborate and work alongside you. It's about giving small business leaders a role in creating a healthier and stronger community. So the principles behind the Deterra project, simplicity, accessibility, and partnership, are universally applicable. Prevention doesn't always require expensive, large-scale programs. And sometimes it's about finding the right people, the right tools, and the courage to make that ask. So the project demonstrated that even small, tangible solutions, when supported by a strong coalition, can ripple out to create lasting change. Whether it's distributing medication pouches, offering training for businesses, or simply starting a conversation, we know that every step matters. So the Deterra project is proof that prevention is more powerful when it's collaborative. It reminds us that everyone from local business to community leaders has a role to play, and all it takes is to begin asking the question of, will you join us? So as we think about partnerships between businesses and prevention, I also think it's important to distinguish the roles between leadership and leaders and champions. So both roles are essential, but they bring different strengths to the table, especially when it comes to driving change and fostering collaboration. So leadership, as we know, is hierarchy. It's about setting the vision, creating the framework for success. Leaders provide strategic direction, resources, and accountability that ensures initiatives are sustainable and impactful. They prioritize prevention because they understand its alignment with broader organizational and community goals. Champions, on the other hand, operate at a more grassroots level. They are passionate advocates who unite momentum, rally support, and bring others on board. Champions have a unique ability to inspire action, often by sharing personal stories or creating connections that resonate deeply. They're the ones who take an idea and breathe life into it, ensuring it doesn't just remain a concept, but that it also becomes a movement. So what we know is that when leaders and champions work together, their combined efforts can bridge gaps between business and prevention. What I would tell you in this case is that when we talk about business leaders, we really need to frame it with the perspective that those business leaders are truly champions for prevention. Leaders provide infrastructure while champions build the relationships and enthusiasm that drive meaningful change. Both of those roles are absolutely indispensable, but understanding how they complement each other, I think, is key to forming partnerships that truly make a difference. I think oftentimes as business leaders, it's easy for people to think that we have to be in charge. Oftentimes, as business leaders, we don't want to be in charge if it's something that we're not an expert at or it's not our own business. We want to be a champion for someone else. We love to collaborate. We love to help. We don't want to be in charge. Oftentimes, we want to be told how we can help and how we can see impact grow. So we know that both businesses and prevention can be both leaders and champions, but getting your business leaders to act as champions, in my opinion, is absolutely crucial and critical to your success. Likewise, champions can come from the inside of an organization and not just their hierarchy. Sometimes the biggest champions in an organization are their secondary management, those leaders in the middle. So this is especially important as you're building your business coalitions. Oftentimes with business leaders, again, like I said, we love to be asked, but we do not want to be in charge of anything else other than our own business. So the role of a champion can drive us in collaborating and providing you with your own return on investment. So let's shift. The best way for me to talk about uniting business and prevention is to kind of share another experience that I have had in my personal prevention journey. So here's just another local example of us in Summit County. So it was called the GRIT program. It stood for Growing Resilient, Impactful Teams. It was not just an abstract idea, it was a tangible initiative that we developed through a conversation on addiction in our community. Akron Community Foundation had a series of conversations called On the Table. It was facilitated by them, and the conversation resulted in a collaboration between my organization, Summit County Community Partnership, and then the County of Summit Alcohol, Drug Addiction, Mental Health Services Board. So this program that was as a result of this conversation emerged from the understanding that businesses, nonprofits, and government entities must work together to address the critical challenge of substance misuse, not just within the individual who may have the substance use diagnosis, but within their families and then within their greater community. So the GRIT program was actually designed to address the growing need for resilience and emotional intelligence in the workforce in those individuals who had family members that were struggling with mental health or addiction issues. It wasn't about theory, it was about creating actionable strategies to help organizations build healthier, more resilient teams that could navigate challenges and thrive in the face of adversity. So we worked continuing to build emotional intelligence and resilient skills in the workplace because we know that creating more resilient teams changes the community because those skills travel home with team members. We don't just keep them in our offices, we take them home to our families. And so GRIT was a collaborative effort born from the recognition that the workplace plays a pivotal role in fostering community wellness. So we worked together as CCP brought its expertise in prevention and public health, while the Summit County ADM Board provided the governmental perspective and community connections to scale the program. And then my organization brought a business lens and additional educational resources to ensure the program would resonate with leaders looking for practical, results-driven solutions. So this partnership exemplified the power of collaboration. By combining the strengths of the nonprofit, for-profit, and government sectors, we created a program that addressed workplace challenges while reinforcing community well-being. So as the program was launched, GRIT focused on equipping teams with tools to improve resilience, foster emotional intelligence, and promote adaptability. We worked with organizations, in particular their leadership, to create environments and train them on how to create environments where leaders felt supported to lead their teams and foster resilience in themselves and then take care of their employees. So the timing of the GRIT program was really crucial. Initially, it focused on helping teams navigate everyday workplace challenges, but its impact took on new significance as our launch of that program was January of 2020. And we all know what happened in February of 2020 when everything tended to unfold in the pandemic. So just as the program's pilot phase was concluding, the world changed almost overnight. And our final program, we switched to a virtual model and continued to move forward. So the pandemic brought unprecedented levels of stress, uncertainty, and isolation, and workplaces were forced to adapt rapidly. And many employees struggled with mental health fallout from these changes. Recognizing the ongoing need for resilience training, we continued with our program. The timing, I would say the timing was perfect, but I mean, it's almost like we planned resilience training very effectively. The universe had us in mind. So the adaptability demonstrates the program's strength. It wasn't static, it evolved to meet the needs of the moment, ensuring that we remained relevant and impactful. But then also, I would say that GRIT's success was a testament to the power of partnership. Again, we united resources from a lot of different areas, not just prevention, but prevention, treatment, the business community, and then the government sector and the ADM board. And we created a program that addressed immediate workplace challenges as well as long-term community needs. So this collaboration reinforced a critical lesson that businesses, nonprofits, and government organizations are all stronger when we work together. Each brings a unique set of strengths to the table, whether it's the ability to scale, deep communication connections, funding and policy expertise. In our case, some of it was marketing and building connection and the network expansion that we could provide within our community. GRIT demonstrated that when these struggles are combined, or strengths are combined, the impact is exponentially greater. So as prevention professionals, you have the opportunity to replicate or create a new and improved model in your own communities. By seeking out partnerships with business and government organizations, you can create programs that address local needs while fostering collaboration and trust. GRIT isn't just a program, it's a call to action. I feel it challenges us to think beyond traditional boundaries and seek every partnership as an opportunity to create lasting change. So together, we build teams and communities that are not only resilient, but are also impactful. So these two programs connected me to the mission of prevention, Deterra Project and the GRIP program. I saw how much of the pain and struggle could have been mitigated or even avoided with the right resources, early intervention, and a supportive community. So as I grew in other areas of leadership and now chair my county mental health board, I'm more aware of my role in prevention. So I assumed the chair position of the County of Summit Alcohol, Drug Addiction, Mental Health Services Board earlier this year. And my introduction to the prevention community early on in my volunteer work was transformative. It not only broadened my understanding of how prevention works, but it also shaped my views on its critical role in the continuum of care. I now understand, believe, and preach to other people within my community that prevention isn't just a standalone concept. You all know that, but not everybody does. Prevention not being a standalone concept is paramount. It's the foundation that supports the health and wellness of individuals, families, and communities. So this shift in perspective is one reason I now serve in that position in an organization that's deeply committed to supporting mental health and addiction recovery, inspired in part by the coalitions and collaborations that I've witnessed in the prevention community. We have kind of worked recently at the ADM board with revising our organizational goals, emphasizing prevention as a cornerstone of our work. So this prevention and evolution reflects the profound belief that prevention must be prioritized alongside treatment and recovery if we are to create lasting change. So I really don't know that Alice Jennings, the first time we got together and had tacos and talked about prevention, was really thinking that someday the ripples of impact in educating Chrissy about the need for prevention in the community would push her in a different direction as she was working with the ADM board to make sure that we continue to focus on prevention as a tenet of what we need to do and focus on as we continue to move forward in Ohio, especially in Summit County, in building resilience and building prevention into our system. I think I saw a hand. Was there a hand? Maybe not. Might have been a high five. All right. So with that, what I'm going to say too is that you never really know the true impact of you're going to have on business leaders. So when you start engaging them in the prevention community, you don't know where they're going to end up. But here I am. I'm educated and I'm continuing to see the true value and impact that the prevention community has in making the world better. So now I'd like to talk a little bit about, we've talked about engaging, we've talked about having the power to ask, tying things together, empowering and use of network and resources, shared values, shared vision, the role of a champion versus the role of a leader. Now let's talk about sustainability and partnership. So sustainability is about ensuring the programs and initiatives we start today continue to deliver value and impact for years to come. So to achieve this, we have to combine entrepreneurial spirit with prevention expertise to create a collaborative framework that drives meaningful change. I love this equation, that entrepreneurial spirit plus prevention expertise equals community impact. So the Deterra project and the GRIP program are prime examples of how this equation works. Prevention expertise brings the knowledge and tools to address challenges like substance misuse and mental health. Entrepreneurial spirit, on the other hand, ensures that these solutions are scalable, efficient, and capable of adapting to changing needs. For example, the Deterra project succeeded because it leveraged innovative thinking to deliver drug disposal pouches directly to the people who needed them. And the GRIP program brought business-minded strategies to resilience training, helping workplaces integrate prevention practices into their operations. So by combining the strengths of prevention professionals and business leaders, we not only address immediate needs, but also create systems that can evolve and sustain themselves over time. And then let's talk about tying investment to the bottom line and broader impact. So sustainability also requires us to connect prevention investments to tangible outcomes. For businesses, This often means tying initiatives to the bottom line. As we discussed earlier, prevention programs like drug-free workplace initiatives and resilience training have a measurable impact on productivity, absenteeism, and workplace safety. But the broader impact goes beyond those metrics. Businesses that align efforts with prevention create ripple effects that benefit both their operations and the communities they serve. And we know that impact can be great when it happens singly, but it's even more magnified when it can ripple across our community. And then no prevention program can succeed in isolation. The net worth of any initiative lies in the network that it builds. Oftentimes in the entrepreneurial community, we have a phrase that says your net worth is really your network. And it's about building community collaboration, building collaboration and the ability to impact. So collaboration between businesses, nonprofits, and government agencies simplifies the reach, amplifies the reach and impact of prevention efforts. Each partner brings unique strengths to the table. Businesses offer scalability, nonprofits provide expertise and passion, and government agencies bring funding and policy support. So the GRIT program's success, like I said before, was a direct result of in-kind of collaboration. So by bringing together my organization, SCCP, and the ADM board, we created a sustainable program that addressed workplace resilience through a critical time. Similarly, Deterra thrive because its network of partners from pharmacies to local health organizations work together and continue to work together in concert to dispose of drugs safely. So to ensure sustainability, we must continue to foster these networks. Prevention professionals should actively seek out entrepreneurial partners who can bring fresh perspective and fresh resources. Businesses should recognize the value of aligning their goals with community health initiatives, and government should prioritize funding and policies that support long-term prevention strategies. So when we focus on sustainability, we're not just solving today's problems, we're building a foundation for a healthier, more resilient future. By working together, we can ensure that the impact of prevention efforts grow over time and creating communities that thrive in every sense of the word. So as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with one key takeaway, that prevention and business are natural allies. When prevention professionals and business leaders come together, we create partnerships that are not just impactful, but are transformative. These collaborations address immediate needs while laying the groundwork for lasting change. So throughout this session so far, and we have more to come, we've explored how aligning entrepreneurial spirit with prevention expertise can drive measurable results. We've seen the power of partnerships in programs like the Deterra project, where a network of organizations came together to remove over 1 million pills from potential misuse. And we've discussed the GRIT program, which showed how collaboration between businesses, nonprofits, and government sectors can build resilience in workplace and communities. We've also emphasized the importance of leaders and champions working hand in hand to create a culture of prevention. But all of this starts with a single step, and that's the courage to ask. Alice Jennings taught me the power of an invitation, and her simple ask sparked a joy that connected me to an incredible community. I love all of you in the prevention community. You do amazing work that sometimes you don't even get to see the true impact that you have on people. Prevention professionals, I urge you to make the same ask to the business community that Alice made to me. Reach out to business leaders, share your vision, show them how they can be a part of building a healthier, stronger community. Oftentimes, they just don't see where they fit. They have to be told, they have to be led, and they need you to lead them. So to the business leaders in the room, I'm sure there's a few of you too, I encourage you to see that prevention is not just an obligation, but it's also a huge opportunity. Investing in prevention isn't just good for your bottom line, it's good for your people, your customers, and your community. So together we can create a future where businesses thrive because communities they serve are healthy and resilient. The work isn't always easy. Sometimes it is thankless, but it is always worth it. You all know that prevention saves lives. It strengthens communities and it builds connections that have the power to change the world. So I'd like to thank you for your time, your passion, and your commitment to making prevention a shared priority. And I look forward to continuing this important work together. With that, we're going to look into the chat, or if anyone has any questions, I would appreciate if you would love to raise your hand and participate. I'm going to stop sharing. see. As people are kind of looking at if there are any questions, I'm going to give you two that are common that I often get. And the first is, Chrissy, you talk about engaging business leaders, but sometimes we need to engage further into the organization to make it sustainable. How do we engage further into the organization? And I think that's a great question. So I think sometimes it starts with either the business leader or someone in management or leadership that can kind of be the champion within that organization. For us at AUI and Clarity, it was an interesting dynamic. So we launched the Deterra project in concert with Summit County Community Partnership and a whole bunch of other people. I was just one person on a giant team that did amazing work, but we kept with the program and empowered our team members to help distribute drug pouches. So we work in the insurance space. So working with seniors, distributing them to our Medicare clients. So working on continuing to distribute pouches, but then also Summit County Community Partnership, one of the things that they needed to do was to be able to track what was going on with their disposal bags. So they put postcards on the back of every pouch. And then as a result of that, they needed to package those pouches together. So as a team, we came together and helped them do some of their packaging on different days. It's kind of like our volunteer days. So we have a program within our organization called AUI Gives Back. And so as one of our AUI Gives Back days, a couple of times we got together with SCCP and did counted and boxed pouches for them to be able to distribute outside of the community. So that was one thing that happened. And then as I started to get involved with the Summit County ADM board, I could no longer serve in any type of board or advisory position with community partnership because they received board funding. However, I had someone in my organization, her name was Alice as well, Alice Rhodes, who stepped into the position that I was occupying with SCCP and helped continue to facilitate additional work, ideas, and connections. So, I mean, it may have started with me as the business leader, but then I was able to funnel and move our engagement into another direction. So, I would say part of it too is just it's having those conversations. Let's see. I work remotely for a prevention company that has staff all over the United States. So there isn't necessarily a community that we can partner with. How can we partner with community when we're spread so far out? Kathleen, that's a great question. And I think sometimes it's finding those champions, maybe within the entrepreneurial space that you're trying to engage with. Maybe look social media, the LinkedIn community, trying to find out where are there individuals, maybe a corporation that has the same reach that your organization does. You kind of have to kind of go through the brainstorming process of, what does a good avatar of a business leader who we would like to work with look like, and then start working on finding them. And I think too, you can build community anywhere. You can build it in an online platform. You can build it in connection one-on-one. I would say look for those ways where you can kind of build those relationships, but find the avatar of the person that ideally would work well within your organization as a business leader, and kind of flesh that out and kind of move towards finding the right person. Let's see. I seek out background scoop on business before I make inroads. Awesome. Also, who we know, workplace wellness seems to be one entry point into business that can't overlook service clubs, often made up of business folks. Yes, completely agree. Workplace wellness is an easy in, especially with HR people. Oftentimes, if you can provide resources to human resources or in a larger organization, they are usually your champions. I think that's one of the reasons why, as a fractional HR company, we've tended to stand on the resilient side as well. So thanks, Jerry, for that. How would you suggest we find those middle management champions for prevention that might be hidden within a business? Okay, Melanie, great question. Some of it is asking the business leader, because oftentimes the business leader will delegate to someone else on their team. Sometimes that can be a challenge because someone can be voluntold. It's your job as the prevention expert to kind of help them feel welcome and help them shape the path and understanding. So sometimes they'll self-identify. Sometimes the business leader will identify them for you. And the other I would say is, as again, I'm a huge fan of doing social media recon. So looking within the organization, especially on LinkedIn, if you look at a company, you can usually tell if they're on LinkedIn, who in the company, what their titles are. So you might be able to deduce what middle management or who middle management is, and you could reach out to them directly. But the other is having a conversation with the leader of the company and say, hey, I know you may not have time for this, but is there someone in your organization that might be a good champion? And then you can navigate and kind of migrate the conversation towards working with that other person in middle management. So, all right. Let me see. Kids on the county. Looking. Jerry, great point. Local news sources print everything, advancement, new contracts, retirements. Yes, it's a great opportunity. I mean, I do a lot in the business community. We do a lot of research when it comes to marketing as to who we're trying to target. I almost feel like that's some of the same thing that you need to do to kind of engage the business community is do some research on them. So what do you do if the community doesn't feel that there's a need for prevention? Oh, Vicki, you make such a good point. Oftentimes you have to prove it for them. You have to give them the business case for why prevention is important. And like I said at the in the talk a little bit earlier, is that if it impacts their wallet or their bottom line, it usually perks up a business owner's ear. So if you go, for every dollar that you spend in prevention, did you know that you save 5 in treatment? We say that in the insurance space all the time. For every dollar of wellness that you put into an organization, you save $10 in insurance costs. Being able to tie the bottom line, the same thing with efficiency. What would you do if you could get 4 additional work hours a week from a team member that you're already paying for? We're not asking them to work overtime. We're asking them to have, if we build resilient skills so that our individuals that are working in our organizations are able to be more emotionally present and focused at work because they have the skills to continue to cope and deal with the stress tolerance. I think it's a great point to be able to kind of talk to the business leader. Again, it's impact in seeing impact in productivity, increase in productivity, decrease in dollars, or increase in savings. I think it just depends on the language that you're working on with that individual, and you'll be able to tell as you're having a conversation what moves the needle for them. You can ask, how do you measure success? If you get a business leader says, I measure success in my bank account, or I measure success in happy customers, then okay, well, if we're talking about happy customers, we're talking about business engagement. So I can talk about, resiliency in work. If we're talking about my bank account, then let's talk about dollars and savings that prevention can add. So, and yes, Jerry, depending on the size, some businesses on corporate foundations, they have to give away money into the local community. And that can be another way to kind of continue to impact. So the other question that I get often,
Chrissy, there's a question in the question and answer.
Yes.
Debbie asks, do you have a reference that can be validated for the cost savings that they can share with their
Sure. I'll pull
businesses?
some of those. Yeah, I'll pull some of those together and I can send them to you, Fran. Some of it's from OSHA and some of it is from SHRM. Those tend to be where I get my statistics from, is OSHA and SHRM.
Thanks, Chrissy.
Sure, absolutely. One of the other questions that I often get from individuals in the nonprofit space, not always in prevention, but in other spaces too, is that, that business leader that I talked to seemed really excited when we had coffee, and they said they were going to help. And then I never heard from them. How do I keep them? How do I get them back? How do I gain their attention? And this is what I will say is that most entrepreneurs, if you're talking to leader of an organization, visionary in an organization, we get distracted a lot. So it is not inappropriate for you to be persistent and say, hey, can we get back together? Hey, I'd love that connection that you said you would give me. It's okay. It's not being a bother. Oftentimes when business leaders say they're going to help you, they absolutely mean it. They just forget. So that's what I would say is, be persistent in how you communicate with them, especially if you've already been able to get that first engagement and you've got their buy-in. Just work on shaping the path for them. Because again, business leaders oftentimes would prefer to be champions in other spaces, but we have to have the path shaped for us. We're not everyone that is an entrepreneur has that high executing strength. Let me see if there are any other questions. Not looking like it. Okay, so we have a few more minutes. So what I'd like to do is part of the education to me is it's not worth it if I don't have action items and steps or something else to follow through on. So what I'd like to do is have a few moments and I'd like to give you some time to kind of brainstorm and think about who are 5 people in your community or 5 types of people for those of you that may be broader and kind of thinking of an avatar for individuals that you want to engage with. So I want you to take, I'm going to set a timer and I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to give you 4 minutes because 5 is too long. We get distracted. 4 minutes to think about 5 different people that you might want to reach out to. And then you're going to invite them. So think of who they are. If you've got their emails, great, write them down. And then what I'd like you to do is open up your inboxes and send them an invitation to have a cup of coffee. And if you don't know how to create that invitation, you can go to ChatGPT. I'm going to do it too. And I'm going to copy and paste something into the chat about how to have a cup of coffee, have an invitation. But I want you to think of those 5 people that you can have a cup of coffee with. All right, let's go. For those of you worrying about how to wordsmith your email, I just put one in the chat that you can copy and paste and make your own. So you can continue working if you want, but that's 4 minutes or up. I hope that you've been able to kind of figure out 5 people, identify, or at least start to brainstorm, who are some of the individuals or organizations that I'd like to reach out to. In addition, there may be times where someone comes back and says, thank you for thinking of me, but I'm really busy or I don't have time to kind of give you to talk about prevention. I mean, that happens. That's fine. What I would say too is um, in the chat right now, I just put another thing that was created by ChatGPT. It's a thank you. I understand. Is there anyone that you might be willing to introduce me to? And that may be how you get to that secondary middle manager level. Is sometimes if the business owner says, I don't have enough time to devote to you right now, or I'm really sorry, I'm busy, or if you get their assistant and their assistant says no, oftentimes it's just about being persistent. And sometimes, too, I would tell you the power of the network is to ask for an introduction. So if you don't know that person directly, think about who you know that may know that individual and how you can connect. That's something that, I mean, in the business community, I think it's just common, like it's just a common practice. We're always looking for, who does this person know? Who knows who that can connect me to the next step or the next project or the next person that I need to get to. So with that, are there any other questions? If not, I'd like to say thank you for all of your time and attention. If you'd like to connect with me, put the last slide back up so you can. Again, Chrissy Myers, I am available on Instagram and LinkedIn. The easiest way sometimes to link with me is on LinkedIn. You can send me a message. It's super easy at this point in time. That tends to be the easiest way to get a hold of me. You can connect with me either at Chrissy at ClarityHR.com or Chrissy Myers CEO on LinkedIn and Instagram. So with that, I think there might be one more chat. Thank you, Jennifer. You are welcome as well. I'll turn things back over to Fran.
All right. Thank you so much, Chrissy. Wonderful presentation. Thank you for sharing all of your insights. And thank you for leaving everybody with an action plan to take back. I always appreciate when a training has things that I want to take back to what I'm doing. So I really appreciate that. For those of you who are seeking continuing education credits for this session, please complete the link in the evaluation in the chat that Ashley will be sending. She just sent the link right there. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope that all of our sessions, whichever ones you attended, provided you with ideas that you can bring back to your communities to make them healthier and more resilient. Thank you again to our sponsors for making today possible. Thank you to all of our speakers and their wonderful presentations, to the team at PAA who has made this day possible, and thank you to all of you who have spent your day with us. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. We'll hang on here until 3:30 in case there are any more questions. But thank you so much for spending your day at Coalitions Rising 2024, and we hope to see you next year. Thank you.